week I had the opportunity to attend the global media drive for the Volvo EX30, and this is an all-new compact EV SUV from the brand, and this is a small car that drives big. I've already done a complete walk around of this vehicle, so be sure to check out that video. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you about 5 good things, 5 bad things. We're going to talk about some driving impressions, and we're going to talk about some of the details. This is Jill Ciminillo from Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and let's take a closer look right now. All right, so let's just dig into some of the details before we get into everything else. And let's start with the price. Including destination, for this small car, you have a really small price. And you're looking at $36,245. That is a big deal. Now, when you go all in, top tier trim, put every option on here that you can get, you're still looking at a price that's going to be under $50,000. And again, that is a big deal for a small car. So because this is an electric vehicle, you're gonna wanna know about range, charging time, all that kind of stuff. So you've got a dual motor and a single motor option. On the single motor, you will have 275 miles of all electric range. That's also a big deal. Now, when you go down, or I guess I should say when you go up to the dual motor option, so all-wheel drive, you only lose 10 miles of range. You're still looking at about 265 miles of range, and that is going to be with the extended battery. So I think all of that is really good. So charging times, take this on a road trip, you're going to be going more than 275 miles. What do? You stop, and it will go from 10% to 80% in 26.5 minutes. So, okay, you stop at Panera, you get a takeaway lunch, and you sit in your car while you charge. Pretty easy stuff right there. So I think that the details are a really big deal, and I think that Volvo has done a great job with its packaging, its pricing, and they've hit the sweet spot in terms of range. So yeah, now let's dig into some of the other things about this vehicle. Now it is time for me to get into the likes and dislikes portion of this review, and yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna start with what I like. Now, first off on the like list, I want to start with my overall driving position. I feel like I have a really good distance between the steering wheel and my breastbone, and I can still kind of tip my wrists over the edge of the steering wheel. And so while I'm driving, like, I just feel like this is a great position. I have great visibility out of all of the windows, and yeah, thumbs up on the driving position. So along those lines, I want to talk about these seats. I don't know what it is about Volvo seats, but they are so ergonomically correct and comfortable. And it may not look that way because of the way this is tilted, but it just very much like cups my entire body. Like, I just feel very supported and very comfortable all around. So I really like these seats. And while we're on the subject of seats, these do have heated seats, and because of the cloth material, they heat up really well. The third thing on my like list is going to be the clever storage spaces that you have on the Volvo EX30. So yeah, you know what? Let's just start with this. You have these really deep door pockets here that will fit my 20-ounce water bottle, and it's not gonna like really bobble around. It just kind of sets in there really nicely, and you have, you know, space for another bottle and other things, and you still get this nice padded armrest above it. So I like that. Then you come over here and you have your wireless charging here. You have space to put another phone right here. You have this that opens up right there, and you can have your cord or a phone in there because your USB-C ports are going to be here, so you can plug this in and leave your phone down there and then close it up. You also have this right here, which pops out into a couple of cup holders. Now, if you don't need the cup holder space, you can kind of move this in, or you can have one cup holder. So I don't know. I think this is like really well done and kind of cool how they've managed this space. It's just very clever. And then, you know, you can put your phone under here, but if you have a bigger bag or a purse, you can set that right here. So they've just thought this out very well, and I really appreciate the clever storage spaces that you have. Now, the fourth thing on my list is going to be the options that you have in terms of interior trims and materials. Now, in the intro video that I did at the premiere event, there was like kind of a trim here that had like paint splatters on it, or speckles, and a lot of people commented in the video that it looked like their garage floor. It didn't look finished, it didn't look good, but that's not the only option. It's actually not even the base option. So you do have this really cool kind of a basket weave finish that you can get, and you know, this matte finish on the dash is pretty much standard across the course, and it doesn't feel like plasticky. It's more rubbery, and it's a nice finish for a vehicle that's going to all out cost you less than $50,000. And so I don't know, I think they've done a really nice job. So this is a wool finish here on the seats. There are leatherette seating surfaces. You do also have an indigo color that you can put on here in like a denim, like recycled denim seat. So, you know, there are just some really nice options, and I think that they've done a good job giving you choices and selections in terms of what you want in this space. And I think that it looks really good. And I'll be honest with you, this basket weave kind of pattern with this wool seat is probably my favorite. Now, for the last thing on my like list, we have to exit the vehicle, and we are going to talk about cargo space, because they've done a really nice job with this cargo area for such a compact vehicle. So the first thing I'm going to point out is you have this right here. So it kind of lowers your load floor, but if you wanted to store something under here, you can lift up this floor, and then you have, and I'm trying to do this one-handed, so it's not very coordinated, but you have like a second load floor that you can put in, and you can store something underneath here, then you can store something on top of here, and then you have this cargo cover as well. So the measure my husband always goes by is, will my golf clubs fit? And so one of the really neat things that Volvo has done here is they've given you a will it fit diagram that shows you exactly what is going to fit and what the cargo spaces are. So yep, the golf clubs right here, they're gonna fit. A tall lamp is gonna fit. You have like a backpack, like if you're gonna go backpacking with a tent and all that kind of stuff, that'll fit. I forget what they said this was, but it looks like a robot. I don't know. But your rollerboards, suitcases, stroller is gonna fit. So, you know, I think that they've done a really nice job with this storage space, and I think that, you know, for such a compact vehicle, you've got some big space available. So I will point out too, you've got like the bump out here, so if you were putting golf clubs back here, you could even leave the driver in. It is now time for me to get into the things that I don't like on the Volvo EX30, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of them have to do with minimalization and uncomplicating things that I feel like they made more complicated. But as an owner, you would probably get used to these things, so they may not be a big deal, but for somebody who's just in the car for a couple of hours, it kind of trips me up. So I'm going to go through this list, and what I want you to do is I want you to comment below and tell me if you think these are big deals, not big deals, if they're things that you could get used to. All right, we are going to start off right here, and yeah, we're going to talk about window switches. So you have a one press down for your front windows right there, and yeah, if you want to take down your rear windows, you hit this button and then you hit the same two buttons. So I don't know, I mean, it's efficient, it's certainly efficient, and it conserves space, but I'm not sure how I feel about the idea of having to hit the rear button I don't know. Maybe it would get confusing, maybe it wouldn't. And again, an owner would probably get used to something like this, but it's just one of those space efficiencies that I'm kind of unsure about. I don't know how I feel about this. And you do also have rear window switches in the back. So somebody sitting in the back can open their own window. It doesn't have to happen through here. So that's a bit of a plus. But yeah, you have this button right here where it's not even a button, it's just a touch space to open your rear windows. So I don't know. So that's going to be thing number one. Now, thing number two, as we're talking about space efficiencies, it's going to be in this screen. Actually, I'm going to say 2 and 3 are going to be both in this area here. So first off, if you would like to adjust your side mirrors, you actually have to go into this right here, and then you have to go to that right there. Then you come to your thumb wheel over here. It's not really a thumb wheel, but your touch space is on the steering wheel, and that is how you adjust your side mirror. So you can do your right, your left, just by kind of switching through the screen. And okay, a lot of people are going to adjust their mirrors before they drive, but as I was explaining to the engineers last night, here's the problem with being a girl. I don't just wear one kind of shoes. I have high heels, I have platforms, I have tennis shoes, I have running shoes, I have like flat-soled sneakers, I have like boots with a little bit of a heel, I have boots with a big heel. And so every time I get in the car, I'm readjusting my seat and I'm readjusting my mirrors. And I don't adjust my mirrors when I'm sitting like in a parking space like this. I actually need to adjust my mirrors when I'm on the road so I can see the lane lines. So the idea of having to go into this screen to be able to adjust your mirrors is just a little bit annoying. But I will say the one thing that they have done well with this is it does not close out until you hit the close button. So there are some other vehicles that do the mirror adjustments through this screen that if you like take 3 seconds and you haven't adjusted your mirrors, then the screen goes away and then you have to keep hitting the button to be able to adjust your mirrors. So I do appreciate the fact that it'll stay there until you close it out, but I don't like the fact that you have to look here to adjust your side mirrors. And I'll point out that while all of that is going on, you have a camera right here that is watching your eyes, and when you are looking over here to adjust, it's telling you to pay attention to the road because it notices that your eyes are not moving forward, they are on the screen. So it's a little bit of a problem for me. Now, I know a lot of guys out there will adjust their side mirrors and they'll be done with it, but yeah, like I said, multiple pairs of shoes, it is not that easy for a girl. So staying within this screen environment, I'm going to point out that I don't really love the fact that, okay, you don't have any behind the wheel gauges. Instead, what you have is this right here that tells you everything that is going on while you are driving. So if you've got your adaptive cruise control set, this will tell you. If you are going 50 kilometers per hour, this will tell you. If you are in reverse, drive, or park, this will tell you. So everything that was here is actually here. And I don't know. The couple hours that I've been driving this vehicle, this was just really hard to get used to, and I kept looking to the center and it felt a little bit weird for me that I couldn't see the speed that I was going. I had to look over to the right. And again, because this is monitoring your eyes, when you're looking over here, it's then saying pay attention. So I don't know. I don't know. I just, this is probably something an owner would get used to, and you're not going to be looking over here like for an extended period of time, all of the time once you get used to it. But for a couple of hours, this just gave me some problems. Now, the fourth thing on my list has to do with rear visibility. You have a pretty good view out of your rear mirror, but I will say this right here is just a little bit narrow, and so I couldn't see as far back when I was on the highway as I wanted to, just because that rear window is going to be a little bit narrow, and then your rear mirror can't see through that very well. Now, if Volvo wanted to invest in putting a rear camera mirror in, that would solve the problem, but that would also raise the price, and I wouldn't like that either. Now, the final thing on my do not like list has to do with the EV drivingness of the Volvo EX30. And when you go into your vehicle options, you come in here and you will notice that you have the ability to turn one pedal driving on and off. But if you've driven an EV before with one pedal driving, this is not an aggressive one pedal driving system. And I miss that. If you're going to have one pedal driving, like, you need to have one pedal driving, because I found that when I was driving very often, especially when I was on the highway, I would lift off the accelerator, and instead of the vehicle slowing down to the amount that I was lifting off the accelerator, it just kind of coasted. And I don't think that's a pre-production thing. It could be, but I wanted it to slow down more aggressively, and instead what I found myself doing is using the brake pedal more often than not. So to me, the one pedal driving in this is not aggressive enough. And if you're not going to have an actual true one pedal driving that's aggressive, what's the point? I don't see the point. I would just probably turn it off, frankly. So I didn't like that. All right, it is now time for me to give some brief driving impressions of the Volvo EX30. And what I want to say is, this vehicle does really well in an urban environment. It is compact, yet it has a lot of space, and it is fun to drive, both in the dual motor and the single motor options. And I don't know, the seats are just really comfortable. I feel great in this vehicle. I have excellent visibility. My, driving position is really good. And yeah, I give this vehicle 2 thumbs up. There are, of course, some things that are a little bit hard to get used to. They're a little bit different, and I don't know. I think that it's something that I could get used to as an owner, but it's going to take some time. There's definitely a learning curve, and I don't know. I think that Volvo has completely knocked this out of the park, from the pricing to the power to the range. The EX30 hits all of the marks. So if I had to sum this up into one sentence, I would say the Volvo EX30 is a comfortable, competent, compact cruiser, great for the city and the suburbs without the range anxiety. All right, that is what I have for you today on the Volvo EX30. Be sure to check us out on the web for more information, and thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.